There's many ways to visualize your final project or any preliminary stage along your design process. You can use the sketch or doodle for an abstract rendering, or use render zone for a photorealistic ray trace rendering of the scene. You can animate not only cameras but also objects such as cars and doors. There's a variety of different light sources you can choose from, including the ability to import lighting data files from the manufacturer. You can choose any city, any part of the world at any given time, and animate the sun light source for shadow studies and lighting studies. So you can have the full spectrum from abstract to photorealistic renderings. There's many ways to animate objects in formz. One way is to use the Keyframe Animate tool, click on the object, and that becomes an animatable object. So we'll move down the timeline maybe to the 2.5 second mark, and at that point we'll tell the object where it needs to be at that point in time. So I'll rotate this door open, and I'll rotate the other door. And now as I move the timeline back and forth, you can see that it automatically interpolates through those two start and end positions. Let's move the timeline a little further down, and at the 5-second mark, I want the doors to be closed again. So I'll just simply use the transform tool again, position the objects where I want them. And now if I were to play that back, you can see I've only created 2 keyframe positions, and then formz just automatically interpolates through those keyframe positions. Now if we want to modify this further, we can use the Animation Editor dialog box, and you can see each of the keyframes here. We can modify the velocity curve to change how fast it interpolates through that keyframe position. We can graphically modify that value also. So we can have the door open more or less by changing the angle graphically, or by typing in the exact numeric value we want for that keyframe position. We can grab multiple keyframes and move those, so maybe the door will open slowly and then slam shut as we modify either graphically or numerically the animation information. As we turn on the rest of the site, we can look at some other ways of animating objects. We can take an object and animate it along a path. Now the first thing we need, of course, is a path, so we use any of the drawing tools, create a nice little spline curve here, and then what we'll do is use the Animate Along Path tool. Just simply click on the object, click on the path, and that object will follow wherever the path goes. Now this is an object-centric animation system, so we still have access to the original geometry, so we can modify the car and or modify the path using the existing editing tools as if it was any other object. So now we can have a nice little drive-through entrance for our church.